Let's talk about Oklahoma, because there's a quiet battle being fought right now over our most critical resource. It's a conflict that's going to define the future of our state, and it's all about water and who gets to control it.
I know, that sounds a little dramatic, right? Like something straight out of a movie. But that feeling is at the very heart of what we're digging into today. This isn't just about some boring policy, it's about the very foundation of how we live and work in this state.
So, is this where we're headed? Well, here's the thing. This isn't some far-off, hypothetical scenario. We are right on the edge of this becoming our reality. A massive shift in how our most precious resource is controlled is already happening, and by 2026, the legal rulebook for water could be completely different. And this is going to impact every single one of us.
Okay, so how on earth did we get here? For the longest time, water management was, a background issue, something you left to the experts and state agencies. But now, all of a sudden, it has exploded onto the scene, and we really need to understand why.
Look, when you think about resource problems in Oklahoma, your mind probably jumps straight to the Dust Bowl. And for good reason. But the water challenge we're facing today, it's a whole different beast. It's not just about a lack of rain. It's about a new kind of scarcity. One that's being driven by massive demand from new industries and more people, all putting a huge strain on a legal system that's just not built for it.
Let's just rewind the clock a little bit. You remember the brutal droughts of 2024, right? While we were all just watching the sky, hoping for relief, something else was happening on the ground. That intense water shortage cranked up the heat on a simmering conflict over who gets to use the little water we had.
And that really gets to the core of it. This quiet but incredibly intense competition for every single drop. You can think of it as a silent resource war, where these powerful, competing interests are all fighting for the same limited supply.
So, who's in this fight? On one side, you have the very backbone of our state's identity, agriculture. Farmers, ranchers, they need a reliable source of water for their crops and their animals. But then, on the other side, you've got the engine of our future growth, industry. Tech giants need literally millions of gallons to cool these massive data centers, and manufacturers need it to run their factories. Both are absolutely vital, and both are incredibly thirsty.
And don't for a second think this is just some abstract battle between big companies. This connects directly to your life. The coffee you had this morning, the food on your plate, maybe even the place you work. It all depends on Oklahoma's water. Nobody gets a pass on this one.
So, with this huge conflict bubbling up, a reaction was inevitable. The rules of the game are being completely rewritten, and Oklahoma's legal landscape is changing faster than ever.
Now, to really get what's happening, you have to understand this one core concept: water rights. It sounds kind of technical, but it's pretty simple. It's the legal framework that says who can use water, how much they can use, and where they can get it from. And for a long, long time, these rules were pretty set in stone. Well, not anymore.
It's really a chain reaction. First, you get more people and more industries all needing more water. Then bam, a drought hits, and it exposes just how little there is to go around. This forces lawmakers to take a hard look at these old, outdated water laws, some of them over a century old, that just weren't designed for today's world. And the end result? A fundamental shift in who actually controls our water. So we've seen the conflict, we've seen the legal changes that are coming, but let's get down to it. What does this all mean for our future? Why is this one of the most critical issues for every single one of us right now? This is so much bigger than just the next election or the next state budget. The decisions being made in committee rooms and on the legislative floor right now are going to echo for decades. They will literally, and I mean literally, shape the kind of Oklahoma our kids and our grandkids are going to inherit. When we're talking about water, we're talking about a farmer's ability to make a living, to carry on a family tradition that has defined huge parts of our state for over a century. And at the exact same time, we're talking about whether new industries will choose to build here to create new jobs and to drive our economy forward into the 21st century. At the end of the day, these two things are not separate. The health of our farms and the growth of our industries are what create the overall prosperity of our state. And water is the one resource that connects them all. So here's the bottom line, the most crucial point of all. You can't afford to ignore this anymore. Understanding these changing laws and the pressures behind them isn't just for politicians or lawyers. It's now a necessity for every single citizen who has a stake in Oklahoma's future. And that leaves us with one final, very powerful question. As these foundational rules are being rewritten, the answer to who gets a voice in that process has never been more important. It's a question about power, about legacy, and about the very future of Oklahoma itself.